This program is made possible by Mazola Corn Oil. As part of an ongoing commitment to good health and fitness, Mazola is a proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team and an official sponsor of the U.S. Racewalking Team.
When I'm out here by myself, I guess, you know, the motivation has to come from within. The fear of the next race that's coming up, if nothing else, keeps me going out there. If you're training by yourself, you have to really have made that decision that it's important to you. It's not just a social thing. So that's, I guess, the commitment that keeps me going.
Ray Sharp is a race walker. His life revolves around a relatively unknown sport, one that pushes the natural act of walking to its limits of speed, endurance, and technique. Racewalking's roots go back to 1589, when an English nobleman won a bet for walking 300 miles, non-stop. By the 17th century, footmen competed in organized walking races at fairs and festivals. In 1908, racewalking became an Olympic sport. Competitive walkers had to have Olympian endurance as well as polished technique. The rules say one foot must always be on the ground and the knee straight as the body passes over it, or the athlete risks disqualification. The ultimate victor is the master of endurance, speed, and playing by the rules. To the uninitiated, the style seems awkward and uncomfortable. It was Henry Lascaux who first popularized the arm-pumping shuffle. He holds 42 national championships and was on 3 U.S. Olympic teams.
When I started to walk, I must tell you, I got a lot of, as they call it, catcalls in the garden. You know, why don't you get a nickel and walk and take the subway or something like that. But sooner or later, when they seen the competition, which was sometimes very, very keen competition, they got away with this, and there was no more calls, anything like that. The competition was good, and they felt it was just as good as a mile run. The mile walk was just as exciting as a mile run.
Today, it's a technique that has captured a new breed of athlete: endurance, style, and commitment. These are topics that were covered at the National Racewalking Team's preseason camp in Florida. Maryanne Torrellas, 28, returning from the birth of her 3rd child and holder of the 1,500-meter world indoor racewalking record. Debbie Lawrence, 25, twice a member of the U.S. National Racewalking Team, one of the new breed coming into the sport. Tim Lewis, a single-minded athlete, regarded as America's best racewalker at 20 kilometers.
I've walked a straight mile, just covering that distance in 5:41. It's 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Thinking about longer times, I've raced 20 kilometers, which is approximately 12.4 miles, and 121.48, which is an average of approximately 6:32 a mile. So that should give an indication of how fast I can go.
For the average runner who clocks an 8-minute mile, these top racewalkers are deceptively fast. The coach of the U.S. Racewalking Team is Martin Rudow, who's been involved with the sport for 25 years as a competitor, judge, and coach.
The most important part, I would say, is arm-torso coordination. That if you get your torso, the hips, and the arms, shoulders coordinated, the legs more or less take care of themselves as long as you've got a normal build, don't have any abnormalities like toe out or toe in. Okay, Debbie, we're going to be working with you a lot today and more power over your hips. Your perfect arm symmetry. Try to drive a little harder. Leave your foot in the ground just a fraction longer with a little bit more power. When you roll off that toe, get that low drive with your arm and hands, not so high in front. Good, good. Okay. What we really want to avoid is people, when they're trying to go fast, or when they're going real slow, is losing their technique. They need to always work in the range of motion and always use proper technique. The other thing that's real important is forward propulsion. What you really got to do is move the ground back behind you faster. So when your foot flattens underneath your body, you're pushing forward, but that push forward doesn't also make you go up, in which case you'd lift. You know, in race walking, you have to have one foot in the ground, but you're trying to create forward propulsion. So really, if you just had completely relaxed body and you're walking along using only your feet, you'd get a fair amount of speed, but by using your upper body, you take a longer stride, aid that forward propulsion, and also keep your body mass low.
At the National Team Training Camp, the foot gliding, body rolling, arm pumping technique is scientifically analyzed and refined to develop the most efficient and energy-saving stride. The more efficient the movement, the more energy is saved over competitive race walking distances, usually between 20 and 50 kilometers, or 12.5 to 31 miles.
He's a typical young American walker, a lot of raw talent, you know, and a lot of these guys in this team didn't start getting much assistance until they're in their middle or late 20s. You know, I'd like to get them at this age, 19 years old or so, that can really improve. You can take this and start improving. We can keep working with them year after year. We've never had that before, you know. Because of our corporate sponsorship, we're able to do that now. We're really pleased about that.
It's the goal of developing raw talent to its fullest potential that motivates the staff and athletes at the early season camp. Like in any other human endeavor, they concentrate on analyzing and refining the techniques and training methods that will get them to the top. Underlying all is the excitement of future international competition, and for some, perhaps even the long walk to the Olympics.
The Olympics, that's it. That's the pot of gold.
I think the Olympics is definitely a dream, and most definitely the ultimate of a race walking competition.
I love to compete, so I mean, that's just one of the goals you strive for.
To that end, the National Team Training Camp also affords race walkers the opportunity to learn more about every element that contributes to good performance.
These are calipers. I'm going to pinch a bit, and I'm going to do it 3 times. As a sports nutritionist, I'm here to work with the race walkers to give them dietary advice to help improve their training in preparation for the Olympics. Walking is an easy, enjoyable, endurance type of exercise that's healthy, that everyone can participate in, anywhere from a child to an older adult. And it is considered a low-impact exercise, which means that there's less injuries that an athlete needs to, or an everyday person needs to undergo. And it fits the bill of a kind of consistent yet moderate exercise program that everyone can include into their lifestyle in addition to a healthy, moderate diet.
Go! All right, it's a little bit fast for the first.
An important activity at the camp is intervals and speed work on the track.
The week's been fantastic. You learn so much each time they have a camp, and I just love it when I can train with some other walkers and see some other race walkers, and to have a trainer, somebody to rub your legs down, somebody to show you that your arches maybe are falling out, and he can give you a tape job and it helps your shins. I've had lots of shin problems, and you know, he taped up my arches and they feel great. My shins feel great, and just little things like that are just, I don't know, you can't